I was devastated when my dad died in July. For several days, I had a really hard time pulling it together. I was crying a lot. But by August, I was actually able to get it together enough to do what I had intended to do and start graduate school. In September, we had my dad's memorial, which was really tough. And that also happened to be the same month that my responsibilities at work increased by a lot. I was working some days 10 to 12-hour days. I was totally overwhelmed. And then in October, my aunt died. It was overwhelming and devastating. But I got through it in large part because I have a consistent and intentional self-care routine. My persuasive presentation is about prioritizing self-care and how your well-being depends upon it. In this presentation, I'll define self-care, and I'll also follow that up with my claim. I'll also tell you why it's so critical we practice self-care and why there's such a need for it. Before I conclude the presentation, you'll learn common excuses as well as the benefits of practicing regular self-care. Let's first define self-care. According to licensed marriage and family therapist Sarah Leicha, self-care is purposeful action that an individual takes to ensure their well-being. Well-being can include emotional health, mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. Self-care is a broad term that essentially means taking care of yourself. It is also highly personalized, so there are many things that could represent self-care for you. To further deepen your understanding of the types of activities that include self-care, here is a simple list. This is by no means comprehensive. As you can see, self-care could be spending a few minutes taking slow, deep breaths to calm yourself when you feel stressed. It could also look like hanging out with supportive and fun friends who bring joy to your life, and any number of other activities. Now that you've gotten a sense of what self-care is, I'm going to propose the following claim. You have a moral responsibility to engage in self-care regularly. According to Wikipedia, the term moral responsibility refers to the duty that individuals have to act in accordance with moral principles. And moral principles are widely agreed upon social norms that indicate what people should and shouldn't do. Although they vary depending on culture, there are some that transcend culture, such as murder is wrong, and the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when I say you have a moral responsibility to engage in self-care regularly, I do believe that everyone should take self-care as seriously as they would the golden rule. We are reaching a critical breaking point in America. According to American Psychological Association research, the rate of burnout among Americans has reached an all-time high and continues to increase every year. Their research indicates that 79% of Americans are experiencing stress at work. That's 4 out of 5 Americans. Additionally, 36% reported cognitive weariness, 32% reported emotional exhaustion, and an astounding 44% reported physical fatigue. That's a 38% increase since 2019. When you translate those percentages into numbers, they represent millions of Americans who are suffering burnout and exhaustion. You likely know several who are experiencing these symptoms. It could even be you. Now, what if every one of these people impacted by burnout got off the hamster wheel and stopped long enough to really tune into their needs, and then made a plan to prioritize and meet those needs? If I hadn't practiced self-care regularly over the last few months, I would have fallen apart. Thankfully, I had certain practices in place that really kept me going and really helped me every day. And some of those included breathing exercises. And for those times when I would get swamped with grief or anxiety, I would practice those breathing exercises, and they would really help me to calm down. And then every night I had this 10 to 15 minute meditation that I would do where I would just let go of the stressors of the day. And that really helped me to sleep at night. And then when I really was feeling sad, I would listen to upbeat music, or I would say these daily affirmations that have really made an impact on my life. And I always made time, even in my busy schedule, to get together with supportive family and friends. Doing this really helped me to get through a difficult time. And I don't know what I would have done without them, those practices. They really helped me. And in fact, in some areas in my life, I was able to even actually thrive because of them. Now, I recognize that when people aren't going through a difficult time, they may not recognize the value of having a dedicated self-care practice. And even if they do, they may offer up one of a variety of excuses for not making it a regular part of their lives. Here are some common excuses people use. I don't have time for self-care. In reality, self-care doesn't have to take a lot of time. Even if you have a very busy day, you can likely take a couple of minutes to focus on deep breathing that brings you to a place of calm. Self-care is selfish. Let's take a moment and consider this one. By nurturing ourselves through self-care practices, we can actually bring more energy, patience, creativity, and focus to our roles as students, family members, and working professionals. Essentially, we are better equipped to manage life by practicing self-care regularly. To me, that's not selfish. That's generous. That's giving others in your life the best of you. I'm not into yoga, mindfulness, and all that other stuff. What self-care looks like can be different for each person. Quality self-care is about figuring out what helps to nurture your well-being. It's highly personalized. Self-care is too expensive. Self-care doesn't have to cost anything. Activities such as taking a nap, listening to music, or spending time outdoors are free. If you aren't yet convinced to make self-care a priority, maybe these proven benefits will persuade you. The first benefit is having better relationships with yourself and others. Self-care is an act of loving and caring for yourself. People who love and care for themselves are more likely to love and care for friends and family. Those who have compassion for themselves, even when they make mistakes, find it easier to exercise compassion for others. Also, knowing how you should be treated makes you less likely to stay in unhealthy relationships. Another benefit of prioritizing self-care is improved mental health. Research shows that developing a positive relationship with yourself is linked to stronger mental health. Over the last few months, my daily affirmations have really helped me keep a positive mindset. One of my favorites is, I am in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. The third benefit of self-care is increased productivity. Did you know that positive emotions can boost your energy? By doing something you enjoy, even for a few minutes, you can increase your energy to get things you need to done. Also, when you're aware and recognize that what you're good at, you can develop effective processes to get things done. Those who prioritize self-care are better at problem solving. Sometimes problems feel overwhelming because you secretly don't believe you can handle them. This can happen if you don't understand your strengths or don't trust yourself to do hard things. Either way, you're more likely to panic when a problem arises. When you have a healthy relationship with yourself, you're more likely to know how capable you are and understand how to care for yourself during tough times. Finally, you could live a longer and healthier life. Self-care also means taking care of your body. Researchers say healthy lifestyle habits like proper nutrition and exercise can add as much as a decade to your lifespan. As we near the end of this presentation, I anticipate it's become clear why you have a responsibility to engage in self-care regularly. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to your loved ones. So today I want to empower you to incorporate self-care into your daily life starting this week. Choose one practice and start adding it into your daily routine. I'll join you on this one because self-care is a work in progress, and I recognize that I need to focus on my physical health more. So starting this week, I will actually be going to bed earlier so that I can have more energy to accomplish my daily tasks and just to feel better. Secondly, since you've heard how impactful self-care can be, I urge you to also encourage your loved ones to practice self-care. Maybe you and a friend can be accountability partners, or maybe your encouragement helps your family members to incorporate better habits that help them live longer and healthier lives. As I end this presentation, I'll leave you with this quote by Brianna Wiest. True self-care is not bath salts and chocolate cake. It's making the choice to build a life you don't need to escape from. Thank you for viewing my presentation.